Hello again from Fired Up. First, hit the like button, share this page with your friends, and leave a comment. This will really help our rating on the internet. I'm your host for the show, Bob Irwin, broadcasting from Rigel Studios here in Las Vegas, Nevada. This show is about guns, related politics, and self-defense issues. Fired Up is on my website, Fired Up with Bob Irwin, as well as the American Guns and Glory Network, YouTube, and numerous other media. If your local internet provider doesn't carry Fired Up, ask them to do that. A new show is posted every Thursday around 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and our audio is rebroadcast for radio listeners Saturdays at noon on the Nevada Talk Network. You can check out KELY1230.com for a station in your part of Nevada. If you have questions or comments, send me an email to bob@firedupmail.com or leave a message on my office recorder, which is 257-1060. Again, that's 257-1060, area code 702. If you would like a call back, please leave your contact number or an email contact address. There are hundreds of defensive uses of firearms each week in the United States, rarely truthfully covered by news media. I always select a few for my listeners' information. Most are good shootings, some not so good, but all are educational for those of you that keep a defensive firearm at home or carry one out in public, either on your body or in your car. Individual incidents are usually adjudicated under local law, so the opinions given here may not apply in the area where you live. Advice from a local gun-knowledgeable defense attorney is always recommended. And I usually paraphrase stories for clarity by translation from police jargon, lawyer speak, and regional accents into more common American English. The incidents are as reported, with the names of the participants deleted. The names of the cops, the lawyers, and the media are generally used. First up, as usual, an update on Biden-Harris-Schumer gun confiscation plans. According to the president and his ever-obliging attorney general, a crackdown is coming on America's federally licensed gun dealers with zero tolerance for alleged illegal behavior. While no decent person supports arming dangerous criminals, a recent case from Texas provides disturbing hints as to what this policy might look like in practice. Biden announced the new effort last week while finally acknowledging that there was already obvious to most Americans, violent crime, particularly in America's cities, is on the rise. It came as no surprise, however, that Biden was unwilling to admit culpability of his own party's disastrous defund the police initiatives, as well as a host of progressive criminal justice reforms that had the effect of curtailing enforcement and allowing dangerous offenders to roam the streets. Instead, the administration continued its long string of made-up statistics by falsely blaming the NRA and every other pro-gun group, America's law-abiding gun owners, and the industries that serve them for the violence caused to many of the nation's most vulnerable communities. Attorney General Merrick Garland claimed any intention to intensify efforts to punish those actually pulling the triggers. He simply disclaimed that he's going to do that, as arrests and convictions, he indicated, are not the ends in themselves. Rather, the administration's efforts will focus on supply-side measures to broadly curtail the access to firearms such as large-framed pistols and semi-automatic rifles. Of course, these items are rarely used in street crimes, rapes, and murders, the crimes the administration supposedly is trying to prevent. We're in for it, and we're getting it on the local level too. My second little setup here is an update on Governor Sisolak and his Attorney General's plans to seize standard capacity magazines and so-called assault weapons. Bear in mind that any firearm that could accept a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds, maybe 7, is apparently included in the planned seizures. Our governor's plan, just like the left side of Congress, is to outlaw less expensive everyday handguns, which will in turn disarm average Americans instead of going after the thugs that are committing all the crime. The idea does not seem to be stopping crime, but rather disarming victims of crime. A reminder here, my latest book, Self-Defense with Firearms, Use of Force in Nevada, is available on Amazon Kindle for less than $5. Check it out. We're going to have a little commercial here about my book. My latest book, Self-Defense with Firearms, Use of Force in Nevada, is now available on Amazon Kindle for $4.95. You can download it now. It contains examples of dozens of shootings and pointing a firearm cases that I personally experienced in my 24 years in law enforcement, or where I testified in court or deposition as a firearm and use of force expert. The book is about the use of firearms in defense of yourself and others in my home state of Nevada. I have appeared as an expert witness in Nevada courts dozens of times, and that experience has shown me the necessity of putting pen to paper once again. Nevada state law as printed can be misleading to those of you who read it, as it is written in legal jargon, what I usually call lawyer speak. These statutes are also bent or even broken by the courts in their everyday decisions that we generally call case law. Those are rulings that say this or that statute does not apply in a particular incident and similar cases. That causes the law you are depending on when you make a decision to use your firearm only partially or not apply at all to your actions. Relevant Nevada statute numbers are included here and there, so readers may look up current wording on the Nevada State website. Teaching firearms in 28 law enforcement academies, including cadets from 26 different Nevada agencies, personally instructing over 30,000 concealed firearm permit students and 20,000 private security officers, I've discovered a lot of commonalities in deadly force incidents. Less than 100 pages, this book offers advice that can save lives and costs of expensive defense lawyers to reduce your losses in the inevitable civil lawsuits that follow these incidents. Get a copy, learn how to avoid, prepare for, and react to life-threatening situations. And this is real. The book looks just like this. It's a little under 100 pages, and you can read the whole thing in 2 hours. It could save you a lot of hassle if you get into a gun-related or use of your firearm-related situation. Get one. It will help you. Story number 3. The Denver Digital Channel 7 News, it's an ABC affiliate, a journalist named Addie, I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name or her last name, we're going to say Addie, reports June 23rd, 2021 in Arvada, Colorado, a 40-year-old we will call the Good Samaritan was working at an Arvada Army-Navy surplus store on Monday afternoon when a subject walked into the business. A witness said the Good Samaritan was inside for just a few minutes when they heard gunshots outside and saw a gunman in the plaza in front of the store. The 40-year-old swiftly pulled his gun from his holster and jumped into action. A manager at a business nearby, who asked not to be identified, said he was outside when he heard the Good Samaritan urge people to get to safety. He turned his back and looked towards everybody at the restaurant and told us that the gunman is coming, that he is coming back, and we should get inside. The manager added, I ran into the back of the store, closer to the alley, and kind of nooked myself into a corner just to feel safe. The witness saw the 40-year-old confront the gunman. The Good Samaritan shot him. I think I heard 6 shots from his gun, maybe 5. He said the gunman fell against a parked vehicle. Witness says the Good Samaritan shot the gunman. The Good Samaritan lived in nearby Golden, Colorado. A friend described him as an outspoken activist, we'll presume that's of gun rights. The witness added he did not hesitate, he didn't stand there and think about it. He heard gunfire, went to the door, saw the shooter, and immediately ran in that direction. I just want to make sure his family knows how heroic he was, the witness said. I've got a pit in my stomach. I mean, I just know that he got killed being that brave. Comments here. Sometimes true heroes are just thrown into an incident that takes place right in front of them. The Good Samaritan's instinctive choice was to engage. We see that fairly often with retired and active duty law enforcement officers also. Many are just tired of the criminals getting away with murders, rapes, and physical assaults on helpless victims. I expect a lot of active and retired officers hearing this story will understand. We have all seen career criminals being released without bail or any charges. Sometimes cops have just had enough of that. The reaction to shoot may or may not be legal, but is certainly understandable when it happens. Story number 4. WFAA-TV in Dallas, Texas, a journalist named Jake Harris, somebody's name I can pronounce, reports in Fort Worth, Texas on June 25, 2021, a few days ago, a road rage incident from June 29, 21. A motorcyclist was driving between lanes of traffic on the center of the white line of the highway when an SUV driver tried to change lanes, apparently without seeing the motorcyclist. A near miss, but no collision on Interstate 35. The motorcyclist then parked in the road, stopping traffic, got off his bike, and walked toward the SUV driver with his gun drawn. The driver of the SUV told police he shot the motorcyclist after the motorcyclist kept his weapon aimed at the vehicle, even after the SUV driver told him that he had kids in the car. The SUV driver again got his own gun and shot the motorcyclist multiple times, telling officers he feared for his safety and that of his passengers. Fort Worth police said officers found the gun at the scene and that the motorcyclist had at the time of the shooting. They said they have also interviewed multiple witnesses from the shooting. The motorcyclist involved died at the hospital. The SUV driver has been cooperating with police and has not been arrested. Comments. As always, a reminder that the state of Texas has the most pro-self-defense laws, has better pro-self-defense laws than any other jurisdiction in America. Crime victims may pursue suspects to recover stolen property or make a citizen's arrest. That is not to advocate that such actions are always a good idea. Sometimes fleeing criminals shoot back. Risking injury or death to recover your insured pickup truck may prove to be a poor choice. But in Texas, you do have the option. We're going to stay with Texas for a moment while I have your attention on those issues. Story number 5 is from KPRC TV, Fox News, Texas, reported on 6/28/21, June 28, in Houston, Texas. A Texas father and licensed gun owner reportedly chased down a peeping Tom spotted gratifying himself outside his 10-year-old daughter's window. The The husband and wife, whom authorities noted are both licensed handgun carriers, heard their young daughter scream from her bedroom around 10 in the evening on Sunday after spotting the man inappropriately touching himself outside her window. The girl's mother said her daughter looked over at the window and this guy is at her window. The couple, armed with their handguns, headed outside the home. It's in the 15,000 block of West Little York in Houston to confront the man. This is from KPRC TV. The father said he and his wife ordered the man to lie down in their front yard until police arrived. The man did not comply. Instead, he headed across the street to a nearby Valerio gas station. Deputies said the girl's mother held the man at gunpoint outside the gas station, and the father headed inside to tell the clerk to call 911. That's when the suspect began wrestling with the woman for her gun. He managed to disarm the woman and pointed her own gun in her direction. Her husband raced outside the gas station and shot the suspect out of fear of his wife being shot. The couple added they didn't want this guy to get shot. They were waiting for the police to detain him. The father said he is pretty sure if he did this to my children, he's going to do it to a lot of other children out there. We are praying for the suspect, and we are also praying for his family. Comments here: bad things happen to good people. Weapon retention practice is crucial. Distance is your time gap, letting you react to the suspect movement by backing away or firing. Losing control of your firearm is never a good situation. Fortunately, the father was able to react in time to avoid another tragedy. In this incident, the criminal pervert chose his fate. He certainly would not have found his prison roommates a friendly and understanding group. This case law only works this way in Texas. New York City, and again most of the left coast, would likely charge the father rather than the perp. We should have a break here for a short commercial, and we'll be back with story number 6. Don't go away.
Freestyle Martial Arts, located at Jones and Russell here in Las Vegas. You can reach them at 702-551-9009. That's 702-551-9009. CCS Gunsmithing. Chris Eifelt, the man who does all the NRA help, he's at 2216 South Rainbow Boulevard near Sahara. He can be reached at 702-365-1732. Once again, 702-365-1732. Jerry Creed, a trust attorney. If you have a firearms trust or need one, this is your guy. You can reach Jerry at 702-806-7777. That is 702-806-7777. CCW Maggie is found all over the internet. You can reach her by phone at 702-375-5900. That's 702-375-5900. All sorts of firearms training, ladies only classes. She is the best of the best. Call CCW Maggie.
Story number 6, KAAP-TV, it's a virtual channel 135. A journalist named Emily Goodell reports June 25, 2021 in Yakima, Washington State. A 34-year-old arrived at home about 7:45 in the evening at the Almost Sunshine RV Park on East N Street with his girlfriend and their 6 children, all between 7 and 14 years old, and found a stranger inside. Captain Jay Seeley said the daughter went into her bedroom and found that there was a man in her bedroom. The mother grabbed her children, took them outside, and called 911. She reportedly told dispatchers her boyfriend had grabbed a pistol and went out to confront the burglar. Captain Seeley said that while on the call, dispatchers could hear yelling in the background, followed by gunshots. Arriving officers found the family outside and uninjured. However, they found a man dead with multiple gunshot wounds to the chest. Seeley added, "We do not know that he forced his way into the house. He pushed and, we do know that he forced his way into the house. He pushed an air conditioning unit out of the bedroom window and climbed into the bedroom." The man was later identified as a 38-year-old who lived next door to the family. And Seeley said the motive is unclear at this point. Investigators are trying to determine what happened during the confrontation in the bedroom. The family has had conversations with this intruder before, but don't understand why it happened. The neighbors are saying, yeah, he's kind of odd. He's looking in people's windows, and we don't let our kids go out when he's out. But there was never any indication he was going to burglarize somebody's home. Comments here is you never really know your neighbors. We all want to assume they are normal, everyday people. The true creeps mixed in with our society often cover their inner personalities pretty well. I have seen an amazing number of cases wherein these truly deranged personalities fool everybody until something like this happens. We're going to break for our last little commercial break, and we'll be back in just a moment. Don't go away.
Attorney Donald J. Green, a common guest of mine on Fired Up. He can be reached at 702-409-8239. He specializes in gun case litigation. He is your man. Don Green, 702-409-8239. And Battlefield Vegas, my new kind of home for this show. They're on Circus Circus Drive, directly behind the Circus Circus Hotel and Casino. You can find them there with CCW classes and an amazing place for gun rentals, everything you could possibly imagine. Check out, if you're in town as a tourist, check out battlefieldvegas.com.
And the last story of today, story number 7, FoxNews.com reported June 29, 2021 in Myers, California, a local resident had to defend their home from an unwelcome house guest last week. The El Dorado Sheriff's Office said a black bear broke into the residence in Myers, just south of South Lake Tahoe, about an hour before midnight last Thursday. The bear attacked the person who shot it in self-defense. Just like human intruders, the bear then fled. The next morning, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife found the bear gravely wounded and had to euthanize it. There are roughly 30,000 to 40,000 black bears throughout California, and they became more active in the spring and summer after the long winter hibernation. Comments here, this is really a sad story. Please do not feed bears and other wildlife. Use bear-resistant garbage cans and haul garbage away to public-approved dump sites. Living in rural areas is great, but you must be a good neighbor to the animal residents. When I lived in Southern Oregon during my college days at Oregon Tech, it became clear that current residents get their lives changed by human contact. Do not destroy the neighborhood, blend into the area, and do as the current residents do. We're in their area. Leave the flora and the fauna and the bears and the birds alone, and they'll be just in great shape. We'll be back next Thursday on my website, firedupwithboberwin.com, the American Guns and Glory Network, and numerous other websites, television, and radio stations. When watching any media, please click on subscribe so new shows can be sent to your phone or computer automatically each week. Check out my recent shows at firedupwithboberwin.com. It contains several dozen episodes, my logo merchandise, hats and shirts mostly, and a few books, are available at Battlefield Vegas, just behind Circus Circus on the Las Vegas Strip. If you are ever in Las Vegas, Battlefield Vegas is a must-see attraction. You can shoot a minigun or any of hundreds of firearms, or even crush a car with an Abrams tank at their associated outdoor facility. Transportation is provided. Contact info@battlefieldvegas.com. Thank you for watching Fired Up with Bob Irwin. I hope you found the information helpful in making decisions when confronted by firearm and use of force situations. We'll see you next week.